What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome to Insanely Sane. I'm too good for you. I wanted to come today to you guys to talk about a topic that has been extremely requested, and the reason that I have not done it yet was because I was waiting on one of my close family members to actually get on this topic with me, but we are not in the same state, so that becomes hard. We did think about doing like a Zoom or whatever, but we just haven't gotten to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm done waiting. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this. So without further ado, we are going to talk about communication. Now, that is a big thing for people to kind of grasp, because we get to a certain age limit where we feel like things we grew up learning is not changeable, which it is, right? So we get this misconception of, I've been like this, like I just grew up like this. This is how I, was raised. This is what I was around when I was a child. But ultimately, we just don't want to change, right? That's the real reason why we give those excuses. And I say we because I've been there, right? So as you guys know, I always talk about stuff that I've been through, that I've overcame. We're going to kind of jump into it and get a little deep with it. I'm going to try to not go too long with this, but I'm definitely going to expound on a couple of details. I kind of picked up communication skills about 3 or 4 years ago. Now, I won't get into too much of detail, but let's just say I went through a point in my life where I lost something that was entirely my fault. And I take ownership of that because I lacked communication. I lacked that open conversation type of communication, right? I never was the type to sit down and say, hey, let's talk about this. And I think that has a lot to do with how you grow up. So if you did not grow up in a household, which this is very common in our society, we don't grow up in a household where it's, come here, let's talk, right? What is bothering you? Did what I say offend you? How can we get past this, right? We don't grow up with that. We grow up with a generation of, I said what I said, and if you have a problem with it, that's on you, right? Because I'm the parent, I'm the adult, you don't question me, right? When it comes to feelings and emotions, that's something that I want to change in my generation, because I grew up being so bottled up, because initially I was never told that I couldn't express my feelings and I couldn't express my emotions, but in my mind, I'm the child, they're the adult, I'm just going to listen to whatever they say, no problem, right? And so I want to change that, because 3 or 4 years ago, I realized I was the problem because my communication, right? So with that being said, I found myself ignoring situations. I found myself sweeping things under the rug where they should have been handled in an open setting, not just through text message, not through calls, but I'm talking face-to-face understanding, right? And I think this is a reason also why I came to open up to people and give advice and to do all of this, because I came to the realization that we are initially the problem. I'm gonna kind of go over kind of what I mean by open communication. So there was a time where I would just say, I don't want to talk. I would say, I would just block the person. And if you know me, you may have been blocked by me. And that's just the honest truth, okay? I was the queen of blocking people because I felt like what I was saying, I felt like what I felt did not matter. So why even have this conversation with you, right? Why tell you what bothers me when you're just going to dismiss that? I don't have time, right? So if I was feeling something, I would just say what I have to say and block, because that conversation was too touchy. That conversation was too deep. I didn't want to go there, right? And initially, another thing for me was because I felt like no matter how I felt and no matter what I said, no one cares. And I think that's still my motto till this day. nobody actually cares. And I say that to a lot of people because, you can tell people how you feel. You can voice what they said offended you. You can say that. But initially, it's like, if that person is not mature enough, they are not going to respect that. They're going to try to void your feelings. They're going to try to void the situation as if you didn't just say what you said. So I'm going to dive deeper into it. So when you're having a conversation with somebody and you find yourself repeating what bothered you, you find yourself repeating how you felt, that's kind of like, are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, do you get what I'm trying to tell you? Because at this point, I feel like you're just saying, that's not what I meant, or that's not how you should have took it. Hold on. I probably understand that's not how you meant for it to come off, but how it came off bothered me. And if you are mature enough, you're going to say, I understand. Maybe next time I can change the way I said it, or I can change the way we had that conversation, right? So it has to be that point of maturity to where you can own up to your faults, right? Because you don't want to talk to somebody that is constantly telling you, you shouldn't feel that way. That's not what I meant. So why are we having this conversation? I don't want to talk right now. Whatever, just blowing you off like your feelings and your communication in that relationship does not matter. So I really recommend people that does not know how to communicate to fix it, because that will ruin a lot of relationships for you. And I'm not just talking about spouses or anything. I'm talking about family members. Like, that can ruin a lot for you guys. It has in my life. So let's say you're having a conversation with someone and they're not getting it. Think about how frustrating that may be for you, to where your feelings and your emotions are not being validated. That's annoying, and it can take you to a defense mode. That's how I was. So if I was voicing how I felt and somebody was just kind of throwing it back at me like, whatever, like, you shouldn't feel that way, you sound stupid, I've heard it all. Believe me, I have heard it all. And to kind of get that backlash has made me have that wall up, right? To where I don't even have to tell people how I feel, because at the end of the day, they don't care. That's kind of why I have that wall built up. And I feel like people should kind of watch how they talk to each other. I told you before, I've grown out of this because I was once like that, to where I just didn't want to talk. I'm just going to block you. I don't want to have the conversation. And I'm going to draw another point. So I'm kind of putting 2 points together. So having that open conversation with somebody and you guys being able to come to a common ground to say, okay, what I said probably came off that way to you. And I really do apologize about that. We will work on it. It's done from there. Not, I didn't mean it that way, so whatever. No, it's kind of like address what they're feeling and kind of just move on. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a serious conversation. Like, like, hey, I felt this type of way when you said this. I just kind of wish you didn't say that. Take ownership and say, you know what? I understand, like, why you felt that way. I understand why you could have been offended. I apologize. I won't say it like that again. Simple. Like, and I feel like this is a big thing with men. They don't take ownership on how they say things. And men in general have an aggressive tone, right? They have an aggressive type of speech, to where it can intimidate a woman. It can hurt a woman's feelings, even though that was not their intention. So that's why I'm saying kind of monitor. And I don't want to say like walk on eggshells. It's not what I'm saying at all. But have some sensitivity when it comes to talking to people, and especially women, especially your spouse. Because one thing you don't want to do with your spouse is make them feel like you're not emotionally connected with them, understanding wise, because once you make them feel like their opinion does not matter, their emotions does not matter, their feelings doesn't matter, they're going to continue to draw farther away from you in that relationship. And that's something that you don't want to happen, right? And if you are that person that keeps getting someone to not validate your feelings and your emotions, I would say stop having that conversation. And that's what I'm about to get into. Don't waste your time. So there's another thing that was highly requested, and I'm just gonna kind of make that come into this topic as well. It was, how do you know to leave a friendship alone, even if you guys have had a history, right? That's simple. It's gonna draw into this communication topic that I have also. If you find yourself putting in so much effort in conversations, in communication, in activities, in support, if you find yourself indulging so much into giving to someone else and they are not giving back, and I'm not saying look for that, but what I'm saying is a friendship is a two-way street. One person can't give, and then the other person is just chilling, just, soaking all that in and just, not showing the same support, not showing the same love, whatever it is, and that can go deeper into things. That is not a friendship. That is not a friendship. That is just someone that is loving the stuff that you give them, loving the type of emotion that you bring them. That's like staying in a bad relationship, right? You can't have one person that's 80% in and the other is 20% in. That is not going to work. That's not going to work. And so it's the same with friendships. If you see yourself doing that in a friendship where it's just not an equal portion of love and support, then leave that behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of friendships where I've left behind. Not even saying that I don't talk to the person. Not even saying that I have beef with that person. It's just simply growing apart from them, because what they are going to continue to do is drain you from all the love that you have, drain you from all the support that you have, to where you just feel like you have none left to give. And you don't want to get to that point. So I kind of encourage everybody to recognize when you have that person, where you have that friend that does not deserve your friendship, that does not deserve your love. So if you find yourself just giving, and I think I've said this before, like, that's it, right? And so the communication thing also goes in with that. So if you find yourself communicating to a friend how you feel and how what they did made you upset, and they just go off on you and just not accept it, that is not a friend. Because one thing I do know with my friends, we were very open with each other. So if I did something that bothered them, they're going to tell me that. I'm going to either, and this is when I was immature, I was going to either accept it, or I was going to either tell them they tripping, period. But since I became more mature and I became more open, we have that open communication to where it's like, what bothered you that I said? I'm sorry that I said it that way, and I'm sorry that it came off that way. That was not my intention whatsoever. We move on from that, right? We don't have a grudge, we don't have a beef. We don't just walk around and say, why she said it to me. I don't know why she said it to me. I feel this type of way. No, I don't have time for that. One thing I like, and one thing I have noticed about myself, I don't want to walk around with this lingering feeling, with this lingering thought of, I should have said something. I should have stopped this offensive comment from coming out of their mouths at that moment I heard it, right? I don't want to walk around with those regrets of, I should have said something, I should have done something. So I am very open with my feelings and my emotions, because you're not going to do it again. You're not going to get the opportunity to do it again. You're not, because I already put it on the table how you made me feel. I put it on the table what you did I was not comfortable with. So the next time you do it, you don't have an excuse. I mean, honestly, like, it don't even have to be like I said, it don't even have to like be a beef type of thing. It's just like, I know how to mess with you. Like, we good, but like, I see how you rocking because you didn't respect how I felt. And that's something you got to deal with. And so I know a lot of people will say, they did this, so I'm going to be mad at them. No, I don't got time to be mad at nobody. Like, you showed me how you operate. You showed me how you moved. So I'm going to stay over here and rock how I'm supposed to rock. Like, you do you, right? I just know how to rock with you, if that makes sense. So if you have that open conversation with friends, it leaves no room for error, right, in that relationship. And I think that's a big thing, because you'll find yourself, just having these thoughts in your head like, oh, I didn't like when she did that. Like, I hope she don't do it again. Or you're constantly walking on these eggshells in your mind that she better not do this again. She better not say that again, or whatever the case is. Like, I just ain't got time, right? And I'm not telling people to walk on eggshells with their friends. Absolutely not. But if you see something that bothers them, like genuinely, try to get that taken care of, because that's real big, and friendships will set you up for relationships. So I think it's a big thing to kind of get that open conversation started, because it's going to be effective in your life. And I found that out about, like I said, 3 or 4 years ago. I found that out by losing something to where it was completely my fault. Because Derica, if you could have just communicated, if you could have just understood where someone was coming from, you probably would have held on a little bit longer. But I will say, things always happen for a reason. I am a big advocate on things happen for a reason. God will remove things and people from your life for a reason. I am big on that. But it did give me some time to work on communication. And I promise from that day forward, I am the biggest communicator ever. Like, even the smallest things, I'm like, I need to tell them, because if I don't, it's just going to keep bothering me. So another thing, don't waste your time with people that are not going to accept where you're coming from. They are not going to accept your feelings. So they're constantly dismissing you. They're constantly telling you, you guys can talk about it later, not right now. Whatever the case is. And watch facial expressions. I am so big on facial expressions. When I'm talking to someone, I am looking at you. I am looking at your facial expressions, and I'm looking at your eyes. So let's say I'm talking to someone and they just kind of cringe and they just kind of like look at me crazy. I'll stop my conversation and I'll say, what's going on? Like, why are you looking like that? What is it that I said that you did not like? And then they'll kind of expound on it, and I'll expound on my situation. Like, don't have that cringy, like, that don't make sense type of look, because nope, don't do that, because I respect you and what you say, so you respect how I feel. So that's big with me. I don't care who you are, what you are. I will literally have an adult conversation with you, right? Because no matter how old, no matter if you are my elder, I am going to have an adult conversation with you, because I feel like it's important to be open. Don't use your authority and your age to kind of dictate what type of conversation you're gonna have, right? They are not gonna tell me, no, I don't have to have a conversation with you. You're a child. I'm grown. Like, I'm just giving the example. Like, I don't care, like, what age you are. You're gonna talk to me like you have some sense. You're gonna talk to me like we're adults here. And another thing, so no, I am not a parent. I do have a lot of kids that I have been around my whole entire life, where I've seen them grow up. And I kind of been in their lives. So I wanted to say one thing, and just me in general growing up, try to give your kids some room to voice how they feel. Now, this is not talking about go clean your room and they come back and say, well, I don't want to. That is not what I'm talking about. Okay, I said what I said, go clean your room, period. I'm talking about, like, let's say they did something wrong and you say, oh my gosh, like, and I hope you guys aren't talking to your kids like this, but it's just an example. Like, let's say you call them a name. Like, oh my gosh, why are you being so stupid? And they say, Mom, I really don't like that you called me that. Be open and say, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to call you stupid, but what you did was not very smart, right? So it's different ways you can word stuff. So try to be easy with your kids. And I'm not saying have your kids question every authority. No, because I feel like kids still need to stay in a kid's place. But what I'm saying is give them room to kind of voice how they feel about their emotions and feelings when it comes down to certain things, right? So you know how to kind of dictate that. I don't want nobody to think I'm saying let your kid run over you and say what they said and that's it. No, you're the parent, so still remain the parent. But anyway, I digress. Like, let's say they came home from school and they got in trouble for fighting. I don't condone fighting, but let's get the reason behind it. Like, what happened? Like, you know, don't just beat them for fighting at school. Ask them what happened. You know, maybe somebody called them out of their name. Maybe somebody hurt their feelings. Let them know that violence is not the answer. But let them have that open talk where I want to know what was going through your head when that happened. Like, can you explain to me? That's the open communication I'm talking about with your kids. So I think us as adults, and when we do become parents, we have to understand that they are still human and they still have feelings. So the way you talk to them is going to determine how they grow up, right? Because like I said, I just want the parents to kind of get something from this too, as far as talking to your kids. You know, it is your authority to, you know, give rules and stuff like that. But as far as like, mom, you hurt my feelings, or mom, you know, I don't want you yelling at me, you know, it hurts my feelings, or whatever the case is, be open to that conversation, because you want to sit them down and let them know why you said what you said and how you can fix it next time, because they still have to grow up and love on you, right? And you want them to love on you. You don't want them to kind of say, my mom talks to me, she hurts my feelings and stuff like that. You don't want your kid growing up doing that, and then scarring them for life, you know, doing that to their kids. So you kind of want to stop the things that we knew growing up, but just kind of have an open conversation with people, and don't let people make you feel like your feelings don't matter, and they are not valid. When someone makes you feel like that, cut the conversation. I always tell people, if you feel like you are not getting anywhere in that conversation and you're constantly having to explain yourself, tell them that you'll talk to them later and maybe, you know, we can hash it out. But as far as, you know, going on and them saying, know this and you shouldn't feel that way and nope, that don't make sense. Okay, you know what? Don't even worry about it. We'll have a conversation another day. You know, have a good day. Because you're going to waste your time and it's no point in doing it. It's no point in doing it. But do definitely have those meaningful conversations and have that communication open in your relationships with your kids, your parents, your siblings, whoever it is. Have that open communication, because it will go a long way in your relationship. I have found that out in so many relationships in my life. So that's all I got for you guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed that. I hope that I gave you guys some insight on communication, because communication will get you a long way. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe.